mostly spend your time in video games trying not to die, but sometimes you murderize your way through 3,000 faceless goons, only to get to the bit where it turns out you're supposed to die. It's just your destiny, man. But there's plenty of difference between losing your last health point to henchman 813 and going down in a blaze of glory in an heroic last stand, and it's not just whether or not you get to respawn. Sometimes your death as player character is downright essential in order to deliver on a game's narrative payoff in keeping with its serious themes, or as a crucial plot point to line the story up with another game for which it is a prequel, or sometimes to lay the foundation for a franchise-defining trope. Consider these 7 times when your canonical death was necessary for important reasons. Sorry. Spoilers ahead for several games, but nothing newer than 2013.
John Marston used to be a bad man, and maybe still is depending on how you play him, you monster. Okay, but canonically, John is searching for the redemption of the title by rounding up his old gang members for the US Marshals. It's his one shot at atoning for his sins and reuniting with his family to settle down on his ranch and do whatever it is you do on ranches. I really don't think you're playing the game properly. Anyway, the final handful of story missions are the equivalent of a cop in a Hollywood movie announcing that they've got 2 weeks left till retirement. Bad stuff's about to go down.
Soon it'll be quail season. We should have some fun then.
Sure enough, bad stuff does go down. The US Marshals decide they want the entire gang dead, which means John too. Cue a heroic last stand as John exits his barn and the hope that maybe if you're quick enough, you can get them all and survive. But no, the redemption of Red Dead Redemption isn't the kind that you can get by being alive. Old West justice and cowboy genre conventions mean that John has to answer for his past crimes. Them's the breaks, John boy. He's punished with his death, just as we're punished for our in-game crimes by having to play as his rubbish son Jack from this point onwards.
Come on! Work, you damn nag!
Didn't think anyone survived Benghazi, sir.
Spartans never died, George. They're just missing in action.
Halo Reach takes place before the events of Halo 1. In Halo Reach, you play Noble 6, who is a Spartan. In Halo 1, you'd play as Master Chief, who is ostensibly the last Spartan. I'd say don't make Halo Reach spell it out for you, but I think it already did. Predestined Doom kind of defines the plot of Reach.
We'll hold your position as long as we can. I need you in that fight, Noble One.
Sorry, Noble 6, your fate was sealed from the off. For 1, to maintain the continuity of the Halo universe, and for 2, to cap off Reach's downbeat tale of heroic sacrifices and being shot in the head.
Where does he get off calling a demolition a priority 1?
And for 3, it got you this memorably poignant final scene of your epic last battle against the Covenant, a lone Spartan taking as many of them with you as you can before getting an energy sword in the face.
I have many things to tell you, and very little time. My name is Kale. I come from a universe parallel to yours.
Omicron: The Nomad Soul was the first game from David Cage and Quantic Dream of Heavy Rain and Fahrenheit fame. In it, a character called Kale contacts you via your computer and appeals for you to take control of his body to fight some ancient evil.
Oh, and one more thing. Be careful with my body. It's the only one I've got.
Sure thing, Kale. First things first though, prior to fighting that ancient evil, it is absolutely crucial that I sleep with your wife. Yeah, sorry. I appreciate that's probably not what you had in mind when you handed me the keys. Then, regardless of how good I am at the game, I will get you killed and my soul will transfer to another playable character. Whoops, again, my bad. Hope that eternity in limbo isn't too torturous. Here's the thing though, if I didn't die and that transfer of my soul didn't happen, then the title of the game wouldn't make sense. You wouldn't be a nomad soul, you'd just be a sort of permanent resident soul, which I think you'll agree, Kale, is far less snappy. Glad we have an understanding.
Call of Duty's Modern Warfare sub-franchise turned killing off player characters into a go-to narrative device to the point where 3 out of 5 of Modern Warfare 2's player characters took an early bath. by which I mean were killed off in a surprise twist partway through the game. Astronaut no! With that in mind, it's easy to forget the impact it had back in Modern Warfare 1 when it was still fresh and surprising. In the mission Shock and Awe, Sergeant Paul Jackson crawls out of a wrecked helicopter that was flying around just that little bit too close to a detonating nuclear bomb.
Everyone, hang on!
Having miraculously survived the crash, he then expires on a pile of irradiated rubble. If it's any comfort, Sergeant Jackson, your sacrifice was absolutely demanded, and not just for all that pathos, but also for establishing a Modern Warfare trope as essential as bromance and gruff Brits.
You will find the will of a single man can be broken.
Phelps, Earl, a shooting at the 111 Club.
Half a dozen shooters, sir. Real professionals.
Rockstar's 1940s LA detect-em-up took the bold step of making the main character an unlikable dick.
A nosy old hag like you knows everything about the people who live under her roof.
Snappy dresser though. LA Noir's twisty tale of ex-servicemen selling morphine, historical gangster Mickey Cohen, and real estate scams comes to a head in the LA River tunnels, as Phelps and the other player character, the comparatively likeable Jack Kelso, rescue Phelps' kidnapped mistress, Elsa.
Are you alright? Get away from her!
With the water level rising due to heavy rain, Phelps helps Kelso and Elsa escape the sewer, and then...
Jump, Cole! Jump for it!
His death by drowning was required to leave the audience with a newfound respect for Phelps. Yes, he was a prickly jerk with blood on his hands, but when it came down to it, he sacrificed himself. That makes up for yelling at that old lady, surely.
That was a tax-paying citizen. You just bounced off the fucking hood, Phelps!
But maybe not all the vehicular homicide.
Way to set an example for the public, partner!
I know where the key is.
Then let's go.
You have to feel for Assassin's Creed's mixologist turned messiah Desmond Miles. After basically enduring a 5-game stress headache thanks to a lot of cryptic nonsense from a team of people who seem to know far more than they're prepared to explain, at the end of Assassin's Creed 3, the time comes for you to fulfill your destiny. Your destiny is not, as you might expect, slipping a blade between the ribs of the King of the Templars or whatever. Instead, it's putting your hand on some sort of cyber beach ball, unleashing a pissed-off goddess who plans to enslave all of humanity, and turning yourself into a piece of burnt toast in the process. Turns out all that reluctant hero stuff was justified. It's no wonder no one stepped into the vacant role yet. But was it essential? Well, given that after 5 games Ubisoft seemed to have completely run out of ideas for what to do with poor old Des, we'd say yeah, pretty much essential. Sorry, Milesy.
Bring us the girl and wipe away the debt. That was the deal.
Bioshock Infinite's big twist reveals that, surprise, you, the player character Booker DeWitt, are also the main baddie, Zachary Hale Comstock. He's a you from a parallel universe who set up a floating city full of sky racists and stole your daughter because all his parallel universe machines had made him sterile.
Booker, you're bleeding.
No. I remember. But I remember.
Yeah, same. Okay, so let's kill Comstock, right? That'll sort things out.
You killed him.
Well, no, actually, it turns out there will always be more Comstocks, and they will always make life miserable for Booker's daughter and set up racist raffles, their 2 main hobbies.
Bring me the bowl! Is that not the prettiest young white girl in all of Columbia?
The only way to break the circle is to stop Comstock from ever existing. Comstock was created when Booker went to be baptized after the horrors of the massacre at Wounded Knee. Where Comstock accepted the baptism and then went nuts, grew a massive beard and decided he was a prophet, Booker rejected it. That's why you absolutely positively need to allow yourself to be drowned by this roving gang of Elizabeths. It's for the greater good, Booker.
Okay, we hope you feel better about all those unavoidable deaths now. Now you know exactly how important they were. Thanks for watching. Give it a like if you liked it, and see you next time on Outside Xbox.